One. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jacob and Jacob podcast. We hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. I'm your host, Jacob Pear, joined by my co-host, who's back from his short pause, Jacob Burbum. And today, we're joined by 17-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, and one of the greatest players in MLB history, Pete Rose. Pete, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I hope you're having a good day. And of course, there's Aria and there's MGM Grand and there's Caesars. I live right across the street from all these casinos here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and they had quite a fireworks show last night, as you might imagine.
Well, now that you're a West Coast guy, I mean, me and Jacob are both Philadelphians. So is there anything that you ever miss about the city of Philadelphia as you lived here a while ago?
No, the thing I learned about Philadelphia, and it's one of the reasons why when I become a free agent for the 79 season, I took Philadelphia because I love the fans there. The fans are very passionate. And I never got on fans like Philly fans because Philly fans, they love two things. They love to win, which every fan should like, and they love for you to bust your ass, which is right up my alley. And if you don't bust your ass, they're going to let you know about it. That's the two things I really loved about the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, that grit and toughness.
I took Philadelphia over St. Louis, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Dodgers, teams like that. One, because I knew Boa, I knew Lazinski, okay? I knew Maddox, I knew McBride, I knew Sarge, I knew Carlton. So those guys were kind of mine when I played against them, when I played with the Cincinnati Reds, who, by the way, Cincinnati was my hometown team. I was born 3 miles from where the Reds play today at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah. So I want to move on and talk a little bit about your career as a player. So, of course, 4,256 hits, the most in the history of the MLB. And I want to ask if you think that's a record that could ever be broken.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that record will ever be touched. And I'm not saying that because I did it. I'm saying it just because of the way players play today. All players today worry about is home runs. They don't worry about getting hits. There probably won't be anybody or a couple guys get 200 hits. I used to set goals of 200 hits and 100 runs scored because if I did those two things, being a leadoff hitter for the Big Red Machine, we won a lot of games. And of all the records I have, and I don't know, I got 26, 28 major league records, something like that. The best record I got is 1,972 winning games. Listen, guys, that's why you play the game, to win the game. You don't play to see how many home runs you can hit or how many runs you can score or how many no-hitters you can throw. You play the game to win the game, and hopefully you get into playoffs and you win the last game you play that year. That means you're a world champion. And that only happened to me 3 times in 24 years. But I lost 3 World Series. So 1 World Series every 4 years is a pretty good plateau. That's what I was able to do, okay? 6 World Series, 24 years. I think 6 times 4 is 24. So my math is pretty good.
So with those hits, of course, what made you such a great hitter?
Well, I understood the pitchers that I faced. I did the homework on them. It's hard to hit guys that you don't know what they throw because the scouting report might say, well, the guy's got a fastball and a curveball. Okay, good. Is his fastball straight? Is it a sinker? Is it a sailor? Is it a riser? I have to see him to know what the guy throws. Is the curveball a late breaking curveball? Is it an over top? Is it a sidewinder? Just because a guy throws a curveball, they're all different. And to be honest with you guys, I'll tell you something you probably hard to believe. The easiest place in the world to hit today is the big leagues. Why? Because you get to the big leagues, I think you'll agree that everybody plays in the big leagues has hand-eye coordination. You don't make the big leagues without hand-eye coordination. Okay, what happens when you get to the big leagues? The lights are better. The umpires are better. Pitching control is better. And maybe most importantly, you're facing the same guys year after year after year. They don't get better. Okay. if I faced you tomorrow, you'd get me out. But once I saw you and I wrote down in my head what you throw, then I'd probably wear your ass out. But when I don't know what you throw, it was hard for me to survive. A lot of young rookie pitchers got me out because I haven't seen him yet. But once I saw him, I tried to see as many pitches as I could the first or second time up, and I'd write it down in the back of my head what they threw and what their best pitch was. And if you don't know what a pitcher throws, guys, you're a little leaguer, a high schooler, or a college guy, instead of screwing around in the clubhouse, when the guy pitching against you today is down in the bullpen warming up, watch him warm up. He's not going to go down there for 20 minutes and go like this and go like that, then go in and throw a bunch of knuckleballs and changeups. In other words, he's going to practice what he has in the bullpen. And you can get some kind of an idea. If he's down there for 20 minutes, he keeps going like that and like that, he's got a fastball and a slider. And those are the two best pitches. And anytime you face a pitcher who's got his two best pitches, you want him to try to get you out with his third or fourth best pitch. Then he's playing right into you. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the pitching.
Okay.
What do you
Yeah.
think is better, the pitching nowadays or the pitching back when you played?
Overall pitching is better today when I played.
Okay.
I faced 19 Hall of Fame pitchers, guys.
Yeah.
You know, pitchers today can't go more than 5 or 6 innings. And let me tell you something. As a guy who follows the game today, you guys watch this. Most runs in baseball today are scored in 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. Because starters can go 5, 6, maybe. Relievers can go 1. Closers can go 1. So you have middle relief pitchers going 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. What are middle relief pitchers? Guys that aren't good enough to start and aren't good enough to close, but they got to be on the staff because you have 10 or 12 guys. Okay. Only the really good teams today have good middle relief pitching, and those are the teams that will get to the playoffs.
For sure. Now I want
Does
to
that make any sense?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. The pitching nowadays, I mean, some of the best pitchers in the league can't even go 5 innings, and they expect to help carry their team to a World Series. But you see guys like Kershaw.
Well, if they go 5 innings and strike out 8 or 9, they're happy. But they leave the game and the score's 1-1 in the 6th.
Yeah.
You got to play a 9-inning game.
For sure.
You got to score more than the opposition to win the damn game.
Mhm.
You know, I watched a guy last night who was real close to pitching his third complete game of the year. The kid from San Francisco who used to be with the Reds last year. He won last night. You know, he's really a hot pitcher. No one won him, so they signed him for $6 million for this year. He pitched for the Reds last year. His name slips me right now, but he come within one hitter of pitching 3 complete games, 2 shutouts, more shutouts than anybody. Pitchers just don't pitch shutouts. These managers today can't wait to take a guy out.
Mhm.
You know, who cares if he threw 95 pitches? Who cares if he throws 105 pitches? Not going to hurt his arm. Let him finish what he started. Then if you need relief in the 8th or 9th, bring the closer in. Don't screw around with these middle relief pitchers. You're only going to lose the game.
Agreed, for sure. So I want to shift into another topic. During the 1980s, you were gambling on baseball games, including betting on your own team to win. How did this start, and why did you decide to bet on your own team to win? And
Because I had more confidence in betting on my team. I love my players. The Larkins, the O'Neills, the Sabos, the Brownings, the Dibbles, the Charltons. You know, I had a lot of great players, and I was finished as a player. So I needed something else to do, and I was wrong. Don't get me wrong. I was wrong. I wish I hadn't did it, but I did it. And it's part of history, and you got to live with it. You got to, if you ask me about it, I'll tell you about it. I can't give you a good reason why I bet on my team to win every night, because I love my players. I had that much faith in my players. Does that make any sense?
You still bet on the game of baseball?
No. Then I live right across the street from the casino.
Mhm.
You know, I have a company out of Mexico called YouPickTrade.com, where I pick games every day for that outfit. You can pay so much money a month to get my picks. I'm not betting on them. I'm picking them for you as an outsider looking in. I'm using my expertise to pick the games for guys who sign up what you pick. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But so I follow the ones I picked, and I'm clicking around at about 73%, which is pretty good for a handicapper. You want to know the truth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of handicappers here in Vegas that don't pick 73%. I have my good nights and I have my bad nights. But I have more good nights than bad nights. Everybody has bad days, even you kids.
So I want to ask about you being placed on the MLB's permanent ineligible list, which means you also couldn't be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Do you believe that you should be in the Hall of Fame?
Sure. I mean, the Hall of Fame is about statistics. You think I'm the only player in the history of baseball that made mistakes that would keep you out of the Hall of Fame? What do you think is up there? A bunch of altar boys up in Cooperstown? Never made mistakes of any kind? It's impossible. It's impossible. But I only worry about the mistake I made. Okay. If you talk, what do you think the Hall of Fame is for? Statistics, right? Who's got better statistics than me?
Not many players.
But I made a mistake. I'm not going to get on you guys' show and bitch about not being in the Hall of Fame. My fans know what kind of player I was. My family knows what kind of player I was. Philly fans know what kind of player I was. Cincinnati fans know what kind of player I was. You know, I don't need a plaque on the wall of Cooperstown. I would love to get that plaque. Every player in his or her sport, ultimate goal should be to go to their Hall of Fame. And I'm no different than anybody else. Okay. And I'm going to tell you while we're on the subject, Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens got 7 Cy Youngs. Barry Bonds is the all-time home run leader. I'm the all-time hit leader. I'm the all-time wins leader. I'm the all-time at-bats leader. I'm the all-time doubles leader. I'm second in runs ever. So there's a lot of things I accomplished as a baseball player. And but I made the mistake of betting on the game of baseball. I understood what happened in 1919 with the Black Sox scandal. Joe Jackson, okay, he took money to throw games in the World Series. I didn't throw no games. I never bet against my team. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. So that's where we stand today. And I'm 80 years old, guys. Life's too short for me to go to bed tonight and pray that I go to Hall of Fame tomorrow. When I go to bed tonight, you know what I'm going to pray? That I get up tomorrow morning. That's what I'm going to pray. And I hope that keeps going and going and going. Maybe I'll outlive them all. I doubt it, but I'll try.
I mean, and you recently filed for reinstatement a couple years ago in wake of the Houston Astros scandal. So why did it take the Astros scandal for you to file for reinstatement? What was the motive behind that?
Oh, I didn't do it because that just happened. I already picked my day to meet with the commissioner. That scandal had nothing to do with me meeting with the commissioner. You know, isn't that funny that episode happened down in Houston? And I believe I'm right. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Not one player was punished.
You're right.
Yeah.
Not one player was punished. And that's who did it all. Not the manager. Okay. Not the general manager. Not the coaches. The players did it. And not one player was penalized. That seemed kind of strange.
For sure. I sure hope.
The Astros got lucky because the pandemic came and the games were called off and they didn't have to go to any road trip as world champion because nobody was going to the ballpark, because those players would have took a lot of stuff from those fans around the country, which is, you know, deserving in some cases. Not everybody did it, but some guys did it. They knew the ones that didn't know who they are. Okay. And they got away with it. So why are we going to sit here and argue about it? You can't bring it back. Listen, guys, you get used to this. Anything that happened yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 10 years from now, forget about it because you're not going to change it. Worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, years to come. Okay. Don't worry about something happened in the past. Okay. Because you can find negative things every day to talk about that happened in the past. Do you agree with that?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
People don't want to hear yesterday's newspapers. They don't buy yesterday's newspapers. Your mom and dad don't read about what happened in 2010, 2015. They're worried about what's happening in 2021. That's just the way you should think. Life's short, man. Enjoy it while you're here, because you're going to blink your eye and you're going to be 40. Then you're going to blink your eye and you're going to be 60. Okay, does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I've been through it, guys. I've been through everything you're going through. So I kind of know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to give you some constructive advice right now.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to shift off of your playing career a little bit and go into a different subject, talk about the state of baseball today. And I want to ask about the pitchers, and obviously this whole recent sort of, I don't even know if I would call it a scandal, but this whole recent upcoming with the pitchers using different substances on the balls to help them throw the ball better and get more spin on it. And now the MLB cracking down and trying to eliminate that from the game.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
Let me ask you guys a question. You're young, you're in high school, but you're knowledgeable. I can tell by listening to you talk. Name me a rule that baseball's changed in the last 5, 6, 7 years that has helped the game for you and I as fans.
I can't.
You can't break up a double play. You can't knock the catcher over if he's blocking the plate. You can't pitch inside. You can't do anything. And now they're complaining about the pitchers are greasing up the ball or something. Yeah, we're on an all-time pace for home runs, but we're on an all-time pace too for strikeouts. Okay, so if the pitchers are cheating, they're not cheating in the right respect, because guys are hitting more home runs than ever before. And guys are popping up more than ever before, flying out more than ever before. Why? Because here's what they do. They drop this and elevate and try to hit the ball in the air. Does that make any sense?
100%.
That's the truth. I mean, if I gave a hitting clinic today to guys in the big leagues, they wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay? Because I'm going to talk about hitting the ball out front, knowing what the pitcher throws, looking for a fastball, adjusting everything else. Everything in baseball is situations. What's the score? Who's on? Who's in the bullpen? And these guys today hit. I've never seen so many guys, and there's some really good players out there today too, by the way. But I've never seen so many guys swing at balls that bounce in front of the plate. Let me tell you something, guys. I batted officially 14,000 times. And I can honestly tell you, maybe I did. I don't ever remember swinging at a ball bouncing in front of the plate. But don't forget, I was a switch batter because the ball was always coming into me. You know, I struck out 1,000 times, which sounds like a lot. Okay. But I batted unofficial 15,500 times. Now, that's like 45 times out of every 600 at bats. Now it don't sound like much. 45 out of 600. Okay. Because the only way you can't get a hit or get on base is if you strike out, because not too many catchers drop a third strike. So if you don't want to score a run, then strike out. Then you don't have to waste your energy. It's as simple as that. The guys don't understand that. They hit like they don't understand that. You know, hitters have to understand one thing. When you got a man on third base with less than 2 outs, the pitcher's in the jackpot. Relax, guys. Let the pitcher make a mistake, and he will make a mistake. Even the good ones will make a mistake. And when he makes a mistake, you got to hit it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't swing at the first thing that comes up there when you got a base to go to 1 out or man on third and 1 out. Let the pitcher make a mistake, because pitchers today, okay, they don't want to get you out. They want to make you look bad, which I've never been able to figure out. They want to make some different pitch where you strike out. Well, when I was at bat, I didn't strike out. I'm sure I struck out with men on the third, but before, but not every time it happens. Contact is a big thing with men on base.
For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, you also talked about being a switch hitter. So can you tell us what it's like to go, to switch hit and be a lefty and a righty? Like, how did you learn that? Was that something that you picked up in high school?
Well, first of all, I learned that when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I never remember batting right-handed off a right-hand pitcher. Twice in my life, I batted left-handed off a left-hand pitcher because I couldn't hit Randy Jones, so I tried to ship it up, and I couldn't hit a guy named Jim Brewer, a reliever for the Dodgers, had a great screwball. And if you bat left-handed against him, you take the screwball away from him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was, if we had a right-hander pitching tonight against the Reds, I took batting practice left-handed. If we had a left-handed tomorrow, I took batting practice right-handed. If we had 10 straight right-handers, I took batting practice 10 straight times left-handed. However, I did play pepper every day. You know what pepper is? You got a bat boy, he's about 10, 12 feet from you, and you're just hitting him back and forth using your hands. Pepper, it's called pepper. They don't play it no more in baseball. They put signs up behind home plate, no pepper. You're not taking batting practice. The bat boy's 12 feet from you, maybe two of them. You hit it like this, 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 hit it like that. To me, playing pepper was like taking batting practice. Although the guy's almost lobbing it over. See, that's the difference, guys, and me. I can't believe you never heard of pepper. Your dad wouldn't know what pepper is. Ask him what pepper is, and if he hands you something that's got a salt shaker, he didn't know what pepper was.
So Pete,
Pete, we appreciate you coming on today.
That's it.
For taking the time. We got one last question for you. One more.
I wasted my whole afternoon to be on with you guys, and you asked me questions that took 20 freaking minutes. You must have a big star coming up after me. Let me tell you something, guys. Hey, your guests are all downhill from here.
True.
We agree.
Well, go ahead. What was that last question?
So, besides yourself, who do you think is the best baseball player of all time?
Well, first of all, I'm not the best. I'm not close to the best baseball player of all time. I'm the guy with the most hits, and most records. That's a good question, by the way. You're going to get a lot of answers, but I'm going to give you my answer. And he's one guy I wish I could have played against. And his name is George Herman Babe Ruth. Okay. Babe Ruth was the greatest in this respect. Okay. Michael Jordan's probably the greatest basketball player, right? You guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky's the best hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tom Brady, maybe the greatest football player, 6, Super Bowls. I don't think any of those three could save their sport. Babe Ruth, back when the Black Sox scandal happened in 1919, when he would go to a team's home ballpark on the road in 20, 21, 22, 23, they would sell out every game to watch the Babe play. So that enabled those franchises to grow. In other words, what I'm saying, Babe Ruth did something that the other three I mentioned, I don't think could do. He saved the sport of baseball. Michael Jordan's great, but I don't think if needed, he could save basketball. I don't think Brady could save football. I don't think Gretzky could save hockey. And they were great. They were goats, all three of them. But Babe Ruth, he did it. He saved the game of baseball just by being Babe Ruth. People 200 years from now will know who Babe Ruth is. They might not know who Pete Rose is. They might not know who Wayne Gretzky was. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard to save a sport. And Babe did it. And I met Babe's daughter. And I was more nervous talking to her than I was when I was in front of a federal judge. I'm saying, that's Babe Ruth's daughter. I'm talking to Babe Ruth's daughter. It's impossible. It's impossible. But I did. I met Babe Ruth's daughter. That was unbelievable. That's how much of an icon the Babe was. And I know more about Babe Ruth than Ty Cobb than anybody. Because when I got up to the big league, we had an announcer named Wade Hoyt, who did the play-by-play for the Reds. He played with Babe, with the Yankees. He played against Ty Cobb. And I used to sit on the airplane with him when I was just a little older than you guys, asked him question after question about Babe, about Ty, about Babe, about Ty. And he played against him. So he wasn't bullshitting me. He was telling me the truth about him. I know more about those two guys than anybody you will ever have on the air. Believe me when I tell you. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just giving you a reality thing here. That's what it is. Because they were idols of mine because of how they approached the game, how they played the game. I wish I could have played back in the 20s. Well, not really, because if I played back in the 20s, I sure in the hell wouldn't be doing a show with you guys today, unless I was 115. And you wouldn't want me on if I was 115.
Now, Pete, we'd always want you on. Don't worry. Doesn't matter what the age is. You're always welcome back.
Pete, I have one more question. You talked about the game of baseball being saved. Do you think the game of baseball today is possibly in need of a little bit of saving?
Yeah. I'm a baseball fan. Don't get me wrong. I love the game of baseball. You know that.
Yeah.
And your partner knows that. But as I tell you, I watch so many games and it's getting boring to watch. I hate to say that because I care about the game. But the lawmakers in the game of baseball aren't helping the baseball game.
Agree. Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
They're making the game boring. People are going to get tired of it.
Yeah. No.
You know, I mean, you got to put some zip into the game.
Yeah.
You know, the thing they never address is what I always hear complaints from fans is the speed of the game. Speed up the game. Every pitch, take your gloves off, put them back on, get back in, take them off. I saw a guy the other day readjust his gloves twice, and the guy didn't throw a pitch to him. And every time he adjusts his glove, he steps out. You know, so you can't have a 2-hour game. We wore batting gloves. We didn't step out of the box. You step out of the box every time you take a pitch and Bob Gibson's pitching, you're going to go to the hospital because they're going to try to operate and take the ball out of your ribs because he's going to hit you in the ribs. Or these dances they're doing now when they go around home plate, around third base. San Diego is the worst. And the guy's a good player. Acuna is a good player. Tatis is a good player. We don't need all that bullshit at third base when you're in a home run trot. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Pitchers in my generation would resent that. That's showing them up. And they got to come up to bat the next time. But they just do it and they can constantly do it. I don't know. And some of these guys that are playing today, they got $200,000 worth of jewelry around their neck.
Yeah.
What's that all about? It's going to happen until someone's going to do a slide and one of those crossers or something going to go up, put a guy's eye out. Then baseball is going to outlaw jewelry around the neck. That's what's waiting to happen. And I hope it never happens.
Some of these guys have more.
None of the guys when I played wore jewelry around their neck. That's what you have a valuable box in the clubhouse for. But these guys make so much money, you know, it's easy to have 100,000 around your neck. That's great if you're after the game and you're dressed up. It just don't look right to me in a baseball uniform. Football players don't do it. Basketball players don't do it. They make as much money as baseball players. Why don't basketball players wear the jewelry? Huh? Some of the highest paid athletes in the world. Why don't football players wear jewelry? Can anybody answer that question? No, they can't answer it. Baseball allows it. Baseball allows it. You know, somebody, you know, when you're a football player, you had to wear a certain thing during the game. Okay. The NFL tells you what you can't wear and what you can wear. Okay. The guy in San Diego, Tatis, a really good player, having a really good year. When he comes up, he's got orange stuff here, orange shoes, When did San Diego's colors become orange?
It's true.
But he's going to get paid for it
Yep.
because he's advertising for the company.
Yep.
So, those are the things that baseball don't police. They'd rather police a guy breaking up a double play or a guy throwing inside. The other night, I watched a game the other night. I forgot what game it was. Tatis was hitting. The first pitch of the game hit him. First pitch of the game. The umpire threw him out of the game. After 2 minutes of conversation, they decided to throw the pitcher out of the game because in the past, the Braves hit Tatis 6 times in his career. And he threw a sinker inside and hit him. One pitch, the guy got kicked out of the game. But the bad thing about it, they kicked him out after conferring with each other for like 2 minutes. They didn't immediately kick him out. The umpires got their heads together and decided to kick the guy out of the game. He threw 1 pitch. And he got the loss because that guy come around and scored and they lost the game. He got the loss and threw 1 pitch.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, how it works today, the game's so soft compared to what it used to be. I mean,
And I'll tell you another thing I can't figure out for watching the game. Okay. I watch 2 or 3 games every day. I'm getting, it started at 4:00 today. It's only 2:29. To save my life, I cannot figure out the strike zone.
Oh my.
I don't know what the strike zone is today. Some guys call it down here. Some guys call it up here. Some guys here. Here's the deal, guys. When I played, we're in the dugout getting ready to start the game. These 4 guys in these blue outfits would walk around the stadium, and one of them had a mask in his hand. Okay, so right away, I knew he was behind the dish. Now, when I saw him, I said to myself, is he a high ball umpire? Is he a low ball umpire? Is he a pitcher umpire? Is he a hitter's umpire? Is he a good umpire? Is he a bad umpire? And once I figured out who he was and what he did, all I wanted him to do is be consistent. Just be consistent, which the way you call the game. Some guys won't call it a high strike. Some guys won't call it a low strike. You have to know that going in. That's all part of experience of knowing the umpires. Just like the night before I broke the record, Lee Wire, good umpire, but he was a pitcher's umpire because his strike zone was right here. And I knew that as a hitter. And he looked at me and said, Petey, he said, you'll break that record tomorrow night. I said, how do you know? He said, because you'll be swinging. I said, how do you know? He said, because I'm back there and I call strikes. And he was absolutely right. I'm not going to stick around and take pitches with Lee Wire back there. You blink your head, you'll be 0-2. Now, Dutch Renner, his strike zone was like here. He had the smallest strike zone anybody I've ever seen, but he was consistent. In the old days, remember, well, you don't remember, you're too young. They used to say the American League was a high ball umpire in game, and the National League was a low ball strike zone. Why? Because the American League, remember when the American League umpires used to wear the inner tubes outside? You ever seen pictures of that? And because of that, they stood up. Now, if you stand up, you're going to see the high pitch more than you are the low pitch. The National League umpires had the chest protector underneath their coat. They would get down their knee like. So they saw the low pitch more than the high pitch. So we were a low ball league. American League was a high ball league, just based on where the umpires positioned themselves for the balls and strikes. That's how simple it was.
And I
Now
think
they're all the same.
And I think consistency is such a key thing. Like I was watching the Phillies-Dodgers game a few weeks ago, and 1 inning, the Phillies throw 2 pitches. Both are way outside, or the Dodgers were throwing 2 pitches, both way outside, called for strikes. The next inning, the umpire's not giving the Phillies pitchers those pitches. And it's just frustrating to watch when you see the umpire.
Yeah, because if they start yelling from the bench, they're going to tighten it up more. Because you're not going to intimidate umpires, and umpires miss a lot of strikes, which is fine because hitters swing and miss a lot of strikes.
Yep.
Okay. But you have to have an idea who the umpire is behind. Okay. rookie young umpires haven't made because they haven't established their strike zone yet. They can call anything. And you just take it for granted. They don't know the strike zone.
Yep.
But I'd rather take it that way, because if you take it that way, then you're more aggressive in the batter's box. You don't put the at bat into the umpire's hands. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Create your own strike zone based on your approach to that at bat. Every at bat's different. Every pitcher's different. Every umpire's different. Every stadium's different. Every fans in the stadiums are different. That's all part of stuff you got to put in to play the game of baseball. You know, and once you got all that in your head, you just go out and play the game. Play the game right. Play the game correctly. Okay. Most fans in Philadelphia, Cincinnati, New York, they're knowledgeable fans. And if you play the game wrong, they'll let you know about it, which they should.
For sure.
Fans won't stand for mediocrity.
Especially in Philadelphia.
Well, we're back to Philadelphia again. They want you to bust your ass and they want to win. What is so bad about that? Every fan base in baseball, football, basketball, and hockey should be the same as Philadelphia. Bust your ass and win the game. Nothing more.
I agree. Couldn't agree
You
more.
shouldn't expect anything else from your players. Bust your ass and win the game. That's the two easiest things you can try to do as an athlete. And if you don't do it, then you're cheating the fans. And one thing you can't do in sports today, guys, you cannot cheat the fans, especially the home fans.
Well, Pete, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
You said 20 minutes, we did 35 minutes.
Hey,
It,
perfect.
we had
Perfect.
a good conversation.
So you guys owe me 15 minutes.
Exactly. Don't worry.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so
Have a
much.
good day. All right.